Have you ever landed on a website and just wondered, how in the world did they build this? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain. We're breaking it all down with a really simple idea, building a house. First, you've got to build a solid structure, and then you get to make it look amazing. So let's get into it.
Okay, so look at this. On the left, you've got the bare bones. It's just black text and some standard blue links. I mean, it works, but it's not exactly inspiring, right? But on the right, now that looks like a website. It's polished, it's organized, it's professional. So the big question is, how do we get from A to B? How do we turn that plain old text into a beautiful design?
Well, the secret is all in that house building analogy. See, every great website, just like every great house, has two absolutely critical parts. You need a solid structure to hold everything together, and then you need a fantastic design to make it look and feel inviting. In the web world, we call these HTML and CSS.
First things first, we need a blueprint. Before we can even think about picking out paint colors or furniture, we have to actually build the frame of the house. And that's exactly where HTML comes in.
HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language, and its job is super focused. It defines the structure of your content. Seriously, that's it. HTML couldn't care less about colors or fonts. It's all about creating the essential parts of your web page: the walls, the floors, the roof of our digital house.
Every single HTML file is split into two main sections. First, you've got the head. Think of this as all the behind-the-scenes stuff, like the title you see in your browser tab. Most importantly, this is where you tell the file, hey, here are the decoration plans, by linking to your CSS file. Then you have the body. This is everything your visitors actually see. All the text, the images, the links, it's the visible house itself. So to organize our house, we need to frame out the different rooms. In HTML, we do this with something called div tags, which are basically just containers. We give each one a unique ID so we know what it is. For example, the container is like the entire plot of land our house sits on. The header is your entryway. The menu is the hallway connecting everything. Content is where you live, the living room, and the footer is the foundation down below. Getting this organization right is absolutely key for the next step.
Now, what about lists? Well, HTML gives us two main flavors. You've got an unordered list, or UL, which uses bullet points. It's perfect for things where the order doesn't matter, like a navigation menu with home, pictures, and news. Then you have an ordered list, or OL, which is numbered. This is for when the sequence is crucial, like a recipe or step-by-step instructions.
All right, our structure is built. We have walls, we have rooms, but right now it's just a gray, empty concrete shell. It's time for the really fun part, the interior design. And for that, we turn to CSS. CSS, which stands for Cascading Style Sheets, is what breathes life into our website. It's the paint on the walls, the style of the furniture, the mood lighting. It's everything that controls how our site actually looks. Its entire job is to take that raw HTML structure we just built and make it look absolutely fantastic. So, how do we tell the browser to say, paint only the header blue and leave the footer white? Simple. We use those IDs we created back in our HTML. In our CSS file, we can grab any ID by using a hash symbol. So, div ID header in our HTML becomes hash header in our CSS. That's how we target specific parts of our house to decorate. And check this out. Want to know a super simple trick to make your site look instantly more professional? By default, everything is slammed over to the left side of the screen. But to center our entire house, we just tell our main container to have a specific width, and then we set its left and right margins to auto. The browser just figures it out and perfectly centers it for us. It's a great little trick. Here are a few essential CSS properties to get you started. Background color is literally like painting the walls of a room. Color changes the color of the text itself. Font size is pretty self-explanatory. And this one is a game changer. Text decoration none. This is how you get rid of that default kind of ugly underline on all your links, which makes your navigation look so much cleaner. So we've painted the walls and we've picked our colors. Now it's time for maybe the most important part of interior design, arranging the furniture. In CSS, this is all about layout, and the key tool we're going to use is a property called float. Okay, so we've hit our first common problem. We built our menu using a list, right? But by default, each list item just stacks on top of the next one, vertically. I mean, that doesn't look like any menu bar I've ever seen on a website. So how do we fix it? How do we get them to line up nicely in a row, side by side? Okay, here's the secret. List items are what's known as block elements. By default, that means they're kind of greedy.
They take up the full width available and push everything else down below them. The solution is the magic CSS property, float left. When we apply this to each menu item, it tells them, hey, stop stacking and line up next to each other. Then we just do a little math. If we have 4 items, we give each one a width of 25%, and boom, a perfect menu bar.
And if you want to add a little extra flair, you can use something called a hover effect. This lets you change the background color or the text color of a menu item the very instant a user's mouse moves over it. It's such a simple trick, but it makes the whole website feel so much more alive and interactive.
Now, the float property isn't just for menus, not at all. We can use the exact same technique to create a multi-column layout for our main content. For instance, we could create a left div and a right div, float them both to the left, and give them different widths, say 60% and 40%, to create a main article area and a smaller sidebar.
And here's a quick pro tip for you. Whenever you're setting the width for layout columns like that, try to use percentages instead of fixed pixels. Why? Because a percentage-based layout is flexible. It will automatically squish and stretch to fit different screen sizes, which is absolutely essential for making a modern website that looks good everywhere.
So there you have it. We started with a simple blueprint in HTML, and then we decorated and furnished it with CSS. We've gone from a totally blank page to a structured, styled, and properly laid out website. Now, it's your turn to pick up the tools.
And this really captures the whole idea perfectly. The entire process comes down to this. You use divs in HTML to group your content into blocks, your rooms. Then you use CSS to give those rooms size, color, and position. Once you really get the hang of that basic workflow, you can build pretty much any website layout you can dream up.
So, you've got the blueprint with HTML and all the design tools with CSS. The foundation is officially set. The only real question left is, what's going to be the first room you build in your new digital house?